Hey, Brad.
Hi.
Thanks for stopping in.
Oh, yeah.
We've been talking about games a lot already
Yeah.
this week. I've been playing Soul Hackers 2.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, and it's been interesting because I haven't played a lot of SMT. You know,
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
I played Persona 5 and I love Persona 5, but like I didn't play SMT 5, and like so I didn't really have a lot of
Experience? Yeah.
experience, like a lot to compare it to in terms of like, okay, how do these things go in the spin-offs? And so it's like I'm in this like kind of weird place where it's like I like it, I'm not in love with it. It feels like, kind of like the light version of one of these
sure.
games,
Yeah.
but I'm enjoying my time so far. I'm about like 20 to 25 hours in.
Okay. Good chunk,
so
yeah.
so I put some good time into it
Yeah.
at least so far. Not to the point where I can like write up my review yet. And I've heard it's shorter, but I'm not quite sure, how much.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, hopefully it's not like 100 hours for you.
but so the kind of first thing, if you haven't played Soul Hackers and you're like Soul Hackers 2, I don't know, do I have to like go catch up on a DS game? Like, don't worry about it. Like, it's totally
Standalone kind of thing.
standalone, like Final
Persona
Fantasy
sequels.
type of thing, or like a Persona sequel.
Mostly,
like
yeah.
there's nothing I've seen whatsoever that
Where you're
really
like, Okay.
relates to something that happened before.
So was this a DS game that they're remaking? I'm
pretty sure it's
Okay.
DS, yeah.
Okay.
It's not a remake, it's a sequel, straight up sequel.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if this was like a remake of a... Oh, so it's a sequel to a DS game. Okay. Got
Yeah.
it. Cool.
And so it's like basically picture like, SMT Persona like in the far future.
Oh.
And so I think they said like the end of the 21st century or maybe even later
Okay.
than that.
Okay.
But think about it as if like the way I want to like put it is like think about the Borg and then like reverse that. So there's like this collective like AI like super consciousness, like all the computers just started talking to each other on the internet.
Oh my God.
But hid themselves from humanity. And then through their calculations, they realized that if like these two specific people die, it's going to lead to the end of the world. And so they create these two bodies. You could call them robots if you want, but they basically put their consciousness into each of them,
Oh
and
my
they
God.
become individuals separated from like the hive mind. And so there are two women, Ringo, who you play as, and then Fig is the other one, who's kind of your partner.
Yeah.
And so then you go out and you try to like, basically stop the sequence of events and find these people, and that's essentially how you form your party. Is you find these devil summoners who
Classic.
are kind of like in the midst of this conflict. And so there's like two factions of devil summoners.
Okay.
There's like the Yatagarasu, who are trying to save the world, and then there's the Phantom Society, who are trying to like actually like bring about the end of it.
Okay.
And then there's like all of this stuff in there. There's like these things called covenants that are like spirits that have passed on from person to person through the ages.
Whoa, okay.
And so apparently the way the plot goes is that if somebody gets all 5 of these covenant spirits, then they can summon this huge monster that will...
It's like Exodia or something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
Dang.
Yeah, so that's the thing is like they want to destroy and rebuild the world. And,
Okay,
and
got it.
make a new world because they just think this one's awful or whatever.
Yeah.
And the others are like trying to see the
Save
best of
it,
things. Yeah. So your party members end up being these devil summoners from some. So there's like one from the one faction, one from the other faction, and then one who is like a freelancer. And so through the soul hacks that Ringo does with them, so they all kind of become sort of like interconnected with like soul bonds and stuff, and they lose their ability to summon their demons directly. Like she basically has
Takes control
sort
of
of
it?
control of all of it.
Okay.
And then so that kind of plays into the battle system. So you still like equip your demons and all of that kind of thing, but there's
Only you do, right? Only as Ringo?
you equip one to each character.
Okay.
But that gives the skills and everything that you have, and like it changes your attributes and everything depending on who you have equipped. So you kind of over time sort of like figure out like what characters have different affinities to what. But a lot of it is sort of like the Pokemon level of it's like, okay, I'm gonna get this demon and I'm gonna like level them up 4 or 5 to get their skills, and then they'll sort of max out. You get like a little red mark next to their name, so it's like, okay, you've gotten all the skills. And then you also will get like a gift from them when they're fully leveled up that will like make your lightning attacks more strong, or what your healing more effective.
Are they
or
like
maybe cost less.
permanent stat boosts?
It's like a materia or whatever.
Oh,
you
okay.
Slot it in.
So
to boost one of those affinities.
Cool.
And then and then once you fuse demons, like once you unlock the demon fusing later on, then you select which skills are going to carry over to the new one. So all of those kind of mechanics are preserved. But the thing that's a little bit different, and it still like mirrors some of the things that are in the other games, but there's this, so it's still all turn-based, and there's this thing after all your characters are done, essentially called the Sabbath.
The Sabbath? Nice.
And so every time that you use a skill that hits an enemy's weakness, it adds the demon that's equipped to a stack. And then after every character is gone, then Ringo will summon all those demons. And then based on however many demons you've got, then like kind of does this like all-out attack.
Cool.
That hits all the enemies at once.
That sounds cool.
And with that, there's like all these other things that you can do, like character-specific skills and different abilities that you can increase your stack even beyond the demons that are currently equipped. So anyone that's in your party, so however many demons you like can carry with you, like that's sort of like your max stack number. And then some demons will also get like specific Sabbath skills that only activate kind of randomly when they're summoned like that. And so like Jack Frost's, I have one where he'll like, depending on how much damage you do to the enemy party, then you'll get like a kind of correlating amount of healing back to your side. And then there's another one that would like poison guys. There's another one that will like steal items during the summon. And so it's really fun to like try to stack up as much as you can and then just blow them out. So.
How many party members have you run into? Do you say there's a good amount?
It's just the 4 as far as I can tell, and even from looking at the trailers, like I think that like think it's just those set 4s, like Ringo, and then Arrow is the guy that's got kind of like the jumper, and he's the one with the safe house.
Ooh, love safe houses.
So you go back to his place to have meals and work on leads and stuff, and then. I'm playing in Japanese, so then when I hear like the English trailer to say your name is kind of weird. It's like, so her name is basically like Milady, but like the trailer says like Milady or something.
Oh,
like that.
That's weird.
Like, what's the English? I haven't listened to the English VO yet, so I was like, what's happening? And then the other guy is Saizo. He's the one with the like white bowler hat.
Yeah.
And the like shark teeth.
Blood, talk to me about the structure of how you actually go through this game. So, like in Persona game, you kind of have your town, then you go into the dungeon. And SMT 5, what I played is like you're on this world map, and you kind of go through the map throughout.
Yeah, so this is more, it's more map-based. So, like, you see, like, a map of the city, and then as you unlock different parts, then, like, you'll get little points on the map.
Okay.
As the story goes along. And so there's various, like, little... like kind of shopping hubs. So there's one where you can get like just basic items, and you can shop for meals, because meals is something you do back at your safe house.
Okay.
That like they'll not only refill everybody's health and magic, but then they'll also give you a specific buff, like until you go through whenever you go into a dungeon and then come back, then that's when the meal expires. And then there's a place, so there's like, I think like 4 or so of these like little like town hubs that have like basically like 1 or 2 things in each one. So you've got like one that's got like an accessory shop and the bar. You've got one that's got like your weapon upgrade shop, and then there's another shop where you like trade in materials and cash to get some like more powerful items. And then you've got the place like a circus tent where you do the demon fusions.
Okay.
And all of that. And then as you get leads on dungeons, then you basically just like click to that location on the map to start the dungeon.
How are the dungeons, would you say? Are they, when you go through them, like I always think back on this, maybe not the best example, but I always think of Tartarus from Persona 3 of just like floors, and I thought it was pretty boring actually.
Yeah, this is my biggest disappointment so far is like the visual dungeon design, and even like kind of the layouts, because the first one that you do is like it's just like a shipping yard, and then The other story one I've done is just like subway tunnels. So there's like a lot of just like gray, very industrial stuff, and it's like always at night so far as well. And then one of the other big things with the soul hacks and the relationships that you have is there is this place called the Soul Matrix. And so these dungeons are essentially, they're part of this giant supercomputer that's like under the city or whatever. It's like recreated like maps of their minds and memories and stuff.
Whoa.
And so you travel through their memories. And so there's mechanically it's kind of cool because you can only go so far. Some of that is based on like where you are on the story, but then there's other parts where like you can only go certain depths of a character's dungeon if you've raised like your affinity with them. So like if you've hung out with the bar with them enough,
so
or
it has
if you like
something like that for the characters.
There's like multiple choice answers that will like give you points towards one character or another. And so you kind of like manage like, okay, well this is what I think I should say, but then I need to get like this person's points up a little bit. And then in the dungeon itself, they're like these gates that you cross through, and you need to have a high enough soul level to go through those gates. They have to trust you enough to let you that far into their mind, essentially. But the problem is, unlike Persona 5 or something like Psychonauts, where the whole dungeon is just like this representation of like all this craziness going on in someone's head, is like every one of these Soul Matrix dungeons is just like blue cubes, flat paths.
Yeah,
with like staircases down and they get like kind of confusing in like a not a very good way, to where like you'll look out and it's like, okay, I need to go this way to get to there or whatever, and then you find out like, oh no, this is just a dead end. So it's like
yeah.
Another thing that they do is called Demon Recon. So when you start a dungeon, your demons kind of like burst out, like they're scouts, right? And so then you'll see them at different points in the dungeon, and you'll talk to them, and they'll have like items for you, or they might heal you up, or that's how you get you get new demons. So like Persona 5 and like a lot of the other games,
you like negotiate with them.
You negotiate them with like kind of like Pokemon.
Threats,
like you do them, you fight them, and then you negotiate whether to keep them. Here it's separate from the fights. Here you like talk to one of your demons, and they're like, hey, I found this guy who might want to join. And then he presents to you the other demon that might join up. But the weird thing to me so far is this feels like negotiation light, because like especially like with the mainline SMT games, like I always hear Ben talk about how like a demon will trick you or screw you over or something like that. Yeah. And with these guys, it's like every time is like, hey, I want this, and I'm like, okay, cool,
very
we're friends now. Like I haven't seen anyone like back out or run away or anything. It's like the only time that somebody has like not joined my party is because either I already have that type of demon. It's like, oh yeah, you got one of my buddies, cool, you don't need me, or I just had like a full party, because that's up to like the amount of demons that you can have. Like it's something that you expand over time. You just get more slots.
Have you been able to like easily get a demon you want? Or you're like, I really want this demon, but they haven't just shown up or something like that? Yeah,
I had one last night that was actually sort of like that, where I like had to, like I knew because you do get them from the same areas that you fight them, but you also have to have like that random pop up. Like there's basically spots.
Okay.
So like the Demon Recon is basically like a replacement for treasure chests. So like there's just spots on the map where they're gonna show up, and so you kind of do this thing where like, okay, I'm gonna circle this part of the map until I get them to have a demon available. And then a similar thing with the enemy encounters. So they're random encounters, but rather than it just like appearing, you'll see like there's like these colored sort of avatars for the enemies that wander around. They'll like appear and then they'll start walking towards you.
Oh, really? You don't actually see them on the map?
You don't see the actual enemy.
Huh.
You see like this red thing with like six eyes or whatever, and then you slash at it to start the fight, or just run into it or whatever. If it catches up with you, it'll ambush you. If you slash it, you'll ambush it and get your first hit in. And then the battle starts. But the nice thing about that is that if you are just doing that kind of wander around thing, just trying to get items or side quests or something, you can knock a dude over and just like, all right, I'm just gonna keep walking. Like I don't have to fight every single thing.
Yeah.
There are also purple ones that are called that are like risky encounters, and those guys are a lot harder and have a lot more health. There's this one set of like the Sandman guys, they're like the little man, like the McDonald's Man in the Moon guy.
Yeah. I know those guys.
They're like the risky versions of them. They suck because they will do a like really powerful healing spell, but then they also would like automatically regen like 140 health every time they had a turn, and like you just had to like really just like focus in and wail on them to take them out. And then similarly, the other thing with the Soul Matrix is the side quests that are there are just like no story,
just whatever
like
kind of
copy
thing.
paste kind of side quests. It's like every Soul Matrix dungeon I've done so far has been, okay, here are the 3 quests. Go out and like kill X number of this enemy. Pick up this specific set of items that are like not even items that you use. They're just items that you need to fulfill the quest from your demon recon guys. Again, they're like treasure chests. And then, but the more interesting one is that there will be like a sort of like mini boss sort of challenge fight in the dungeon, and those will have set conditions. So you might not be able to use a specific party member, or you might not be able to use Ringo's special skills because she has certain things that she can do. Like you unlock the commander abilities, what they call them, and so one of them allows you, and you can use them based on how many like turns have taken place in the battle. And so one of them, you can actually swap demons mid-battle. So that allows you to like figure out what their weakness is, and then we'll like work on getting everybody like in sync and all of that. And so you can only do one of those per turn. So it's like, okay, get this guy and then get somebody else. But then in these challenge battles, you can't do that. It's certain ones, you know, there's, like I said, different conditions. Some challenge battles don't let you use items at all. So if you don't have like a revive spell equipped,
good luck.
Yeah, you're kind of screwed.
Yeah.
And so there's like a lot of things like that.
Question about the quests. So you were saying, is there like, I remember from SMT 5, some of the quests you make choices and that could like alter who you fight and stuff like that, or like you can get kind of tricked, kind of thing like that. Is there anything like that?
So far, not. The Soul Matrix, like I said, is just I've just had those basic things, and I've gone through like 6 of those dungeons so far.
It seems like you would have run into it by now for how much you've played.
But then the side quests that are out in the world are a little bit more like there's still not a lot to them, but there's a little bit of like a story thing to them. And it's like there's some guy going out, you know, like people are getting sick or whatever, and then you find out that there's like this mad gasser demon that you have to beat up, or like there's some rogue summoner that you have to go take care of, or you know, some little demon stolen somebody's like collectible and that kind of thing. But so far I haven't seen any side quests that are like super significant.
Okay.
But yeah, so it's weird because it's like I said, like the Soul Matrix quest is like they're cool structurally, but then just like visually there's not that interesting. There's not that much story going on until you get to the end. Then you'll, like, after you beat a boss, you'll get like a cutscene from that character's backstory.
Got it.
Also, every time you go through one of those gates, this is important, you get, you can choose a new skill for that character. So that's how you get these
that's nice.
Character-specific skills is through the Soul Matrix.
Got it.
So that's where, like, the structure of it becomes kind of weird, because it's like, you'll unlock, like, a new thing in the story, but then it's like, oh, wait, you got all these, like, extra side quest things to do. And it's like, okay, I think I should probably do those first, and then I'm just like looking at like levels and like the recommended levels and like the quest menus, and like, okay, so I do this and this and this, and then it's weird because like I'll feel like I'm a little bit over leveled for regular battles, but then still I'll have like a challenge or a boss that's like, oh crap. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about the difficulty. I remember SMT5 being much harder than Persona games from what I recall. How's it feel here?
It feels, like I said, it feels kind of breezy for the most part, except, you know, like when I get to those challenge fights, when I get to those boss battles, like there are times where I'll get the game over. They have a continue mechanic, but you only have like a very limited number of items. Like to continue a battle, if everyone's wiped, there's this item that you can use, and I've only seen like 3 of them the whole game.
Oh, okay. So
to where you can kind of like bring them back and keep going. Otherwise, you would
Game
basically game over. Sometimes they do like an autosave right before one of those fights. So there's like not that much of a downtime. But at the same time, you can also like manually save anywhere. So that's
good.
Too big of a setback if you get knocked out. You can just give it another try. But I have had like those Sandman guys. Like I have had some of these things where like, okay, what the
yeah, just stomp you.
And that's one of the other things with those challenge fights is they're almost like on a time limit because there's a point where after a few turns, they'll just like do some like devastating attack that is more than any of your character's max health.
How's, I guess, the narrative with the characters and everything? Are you into this story? Are you attached to your party members?
I'm not so much so far.
Okay.
I'm starting to like get to some of their backstories and things like that and find out more about them, but they're not. To me, they're not quite like they're not as engaging as like the Persona 5 characters so far.
Okay.
So that's the thing. That's why I'm enjoying it, but I'm not in love with it. Kind of like I said, it sort of like feels like a lighter
version
of one of these games. Yeah.
Combat focused, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, that's the other thing too. Like so far, the hangouts that I've done, like with Persona. Again, I know. Everything I'm comparing is Persona 5.
Yeah, I mean
that's
like what you've played.
Like you do all of these different things with people, right? You had all these different places, and so far, there's just the bar.
Okay.
It's like everyone would just invite them over to the bar, and then have a conversation.
So you're not a high schooler?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, everyone's a bit older in this one.
Cool.
So that is a nice difference to not like, how kind of repeat a lot of those.
Yeah,
same
definitely.
things, dealing with teachers or anything, and instead it's like, just one guy like. He's got an ex-girlfriend, and you find out like what happened with them, like why did they split up, and et cetera, and like there's interesting stuff there. Another guy, grew up in an orphanage, and he's got a buddy that you kind of cross paths with, and there's
cool.
So there's definitely things there that kind of go in different directions than just being in a school setting.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it sounds cool. I like the SMT games from what I've played of them. This seems cool.
Yeah. I think the main thing to me is I always appreciate like cool, like good level design and stuff like that. Yeah,
definitely.
And with this, it's just,
not as strong
it's a lot of just like going through a lot of the same battles and then just kind of, working on leveling up your demons and stuff.
More battle focused, probably.
Yeah, but maybe again as I get deeper into it, I haven't hit any kind of turning point or anything. Like so far, it's like the plot's going where it said it would go. So it's like I know there's probably going to be some crazy thing that happens that turn everything on its head.
Yeah. I mean, I'm interested in checking this game out. Do you know off the top of your head when it's coming out?
I want to say the 26th.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I never remember to write down the basic things like dates and platforms.
Do you know what version you've been playing?
I've been playing on PS5.
Oh, how's it run?
That is actually a nice thing. Like it runs pretty well.
Oh, sweet.
Everything's like running at a smooth frame rate and stuff.
That's good.
And the demons are pretty detailed. Like there's some extra, like the teddy bears, the evil teddy bears. Like you can kind of like see inside of their stuffing cavity or whatever.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
But yeah, I don't know for sure whether I'll get like a full review out on this. You might just hear like some later impressions on Frame Trap or something if it doesn't make sense in terms of time. But I'm gonna keep playing it, and then if I can get one done in a time that doesn't feel like it's like way too late, then maybe we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Cool.
But yeah, thanks for talking, Brad.
Yeah.
If you have any questions or anything, feel free to write them in the comments, and I'll try because there's a ton of other stuff that I probably forgot to get to in terms of specifics and all of that. And then like and subscribe and ring the bell and all that fun stuff. And everything that we do is listener and viewer supported, so go to patreon.com/easyallies to support us so we can make more videos like this and reviews and podcasts and everything else. Thank you for watching.
たくさんピザが並んでるとなんだかワクワクしてこない？一応おもてなしをするのですから、テーブルが寂しいのも良くないかと思いまして。
私、脂っこいの苦手なのよね。
文句言わないの、大人なんだから。はいはい、みんな席について。